morning all, it's the Goateed Sloth here welcoming you to Slow Hands Fast Cars. We're not in a rush, but we're hoping to get faster. Speaking of getting faster, today we're going to look at one of the most important decisions when it comes to RC racing. What should be your first car? Now, I'm not going to make any recommendations. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. I'm not going to tell you why you should buy it, because we're all going to be in a different situation. We all should have been to our clubs and had a look around and figured out what we're kind of wanting to get into. But I'm going to talk you through my thought process and my decision-making process of why I've come to the decisions I have. Look, there are many ideas out there regarding your first purchase in the RC industry. You know, battery chargers, batteries, tools, blah, 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 blah. Lots of YouTube content creators do it. I'm going to go with the most fun. And the most fun one is, of course, your car. So we're going to start there. I'm assuming you have been to your local club. Now, I've been to mine. I'm hoping you have an idea of what you're looking for. I won't be talking about every possible option out there. I'm just going to be going through what I have gone through and some of the potential mistakes I've made and may still make going forward. So as such, most of my discussion is going to revolve around SCT two-wheel drive cars, because that's what I like and that's what we run. So I'm going to primarily stick there. I might make a reference to a few buggy references because I'm also looking in that direction for my second car, maybe, to have two classes once we get into the track series. But that's where I'm primarily going to be, because that's going to be my first car. Okay, and possibly my boys, but we'll get to that. I'll be using Hobby Direct as my main source of information. They have a great website. I'll put a link in the description. Okay. They have awesome information, awesome descriptions on all their products. They have linked exploded diagrams for each car you can buy, and it's freaking awesome. You can click on a part and it will show you standard options. It will show you possible upgrade options. It's absolutely brilliant. All right. And they have an awesome parts system. So I thoroughly recommend you go and check them out, especially for this kind of research part. Key points that we need to sort of like brush on very briefly before we get into it. RTRs does not stand for ready to race. They stand for ready to run. Okay. So be careful of that. I am looking at RTRs because I don't have all the equipment, and I think that's going to be the easiest way for me to get into it. Cheapest as well. Kit cars, love the idea. I really want to get myself a kit car later on, but you also have to be aware with a kit car there's going to be a lot of stuff you're going to have to buy on outside of it. The kit itself will be more expensive than the RTR equivalent, and then you're still going to have to get motor, ECS, servos, transmitters, receivers, in some cases shells, in some cases tires and wheels. I mean, you know, it's crazy. So be really aware of that when you're looking at these sort of things, okay? Which is why I like Hobbies Direct, because they list what you need. Stock versus mod. Stock racing, I am going to do a full video on that because it kind of blows my mind a little bit. And mod racing is pretty much no rules. It's go broke, okay? The only one, especially in the RTR range, that I will be looking at that will be stock legal is the brushed Traxxas Slash, because that does have a 12-turn motor, and in my local club we're around 10.5 turns, so you're allowed to go the 12s. Now, one change of rule here: if you do look at changing your motor and you are looking at going into some high-end racing, you are probably going to have to look at stock. We'll leave that for another video, but just be aware, anything I'm talking about in this one, none of them are going to be stock. But hopefully when you've been to your club, they'll let you know that, oh no, you don't need 10.5. We'll let you run with something else, but be aware that if you want to get involved, that's where it's got to be. My club's been fantastic about that. All right, so keep that in mind. Adjustable setup options versus fixed setup options. Can I make changes, or is what I've got I'm done with? All right, is there options later on, or is what I've got I'm done with? All right, pretty important, can be an important decision, was definitely for me. The battery connector. This one sort of bit me on the arse a little bit, but not much. These things, whatever you want to call them things, come with Dean's connectors, so I got a battery and adapters to work with those. Okay, Traxxas and Spectrum, Traxxas specifically, Spectrum to a degree, are definitely proprietary based. Okay, which means you have to buy their battery to work with their car to work with their charger. Okay. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, because both the Traxxas and Spectrum, you plug in their stuff, hit a button, walk away, it's all done. Beautiful, love it, easy. Just be aware that is a possibility, so you've got to keep that in the back of your mind. Parts availability. You got to be able to buy stuff. If you're going to break shit, you got to buy shit. Okay. So because of that, I won't be talking about Losi SCT 2-wheel drives because they've kind of got out of the SCT market. I don't want to go down that path. All right. It's going to be hard enough for me to start up. I don't want to give myself another challenge that I don't need. Cost. Biggest factor in my opinion. Okay. If money is no object, have every option. Buy something, upgrade it to the tits. Who cares? All right. Go nuts. Okay, you can afford to buy 4 to 5 cars before finding out one you like. I am insanely jealous and I would love to be in that position, okay, but I'm not. If you're like me, cost does matter, all right, so if you're looking at getting a couple of children or like I've got a child, I'm trying to get into it as well, that's another factor you got to take into account, okay. You don't start a hobby to save money, but you don't have to lose your house to enjoy it. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. Everything I'm going to tell you is with those sort of things running through my head. I just thought I'd get through them really quickly. I'm going to hopefully put some pictures and some prices up of the cars that I'm talking about as I'm talking about them and parts and stuff like that. Okay, I will sometimes mention prices, I'll sometimes gloss over them, but essentially I'm just going to talk you through the cars I looked at, why I decided either for or against them, and where my brain's at the moment. Okay, let's get stuck in because this is pretty good fun. All right, as you're aware, I do have a charger already. Okay, I got that because the batteries for these things with the charger that came with them took 3.5 hours to charge, and they're bloody small. So you tear through them in like 15 minutes, and then you wait 3.5 hours. Not going to happen with a small child. All right, so I ended up buying a T200. So I have to be careful on the battery connector. Traxxas battery connector is pain in the ass to adapt to get to work. All right, so that has definitely influenced my decision, and it's something that I will continue referencing to. Okay, so my first car that I kind of looked at, not knowing anything about RC racing, I barely watched videos. I just started looking around. Okay, I went to Toy World, wrote down all the manufacturers I could get through there, just in case I needed parts and stuff. Not a huge range, not a good range that I wanted to use, okay? But there was a few, so it gave me a starting point. Anyway, hit the web, found a brand called HSP. No idea what that stands for, all right? Available at Hobbies Direct and a few other places. Cheap, all right? And all the reviews I read on it, value for money, okay? Now, from memory, and I'm sure the price will pop up to prove me wrong, HSP brushed version was around 215 RTR. Now, I do have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's a full RTR. Every battery, everything you need to at least run. You might need a spare battery, and I'm pretty sure the brushed only ran on nickel cads, but I'll double check that. 215 though. I mean, I could have got 2 of them and paid a little bit extra than these 2 things, you know? That was a brilliant price. So, sure, it's brushed. Whatever, you're not going to be the fastest out there no matter what car you have, so get something that's affordable to see if A, you're going to like it. For me, my kid has to like it a lot, and can I learn on it? You can learn on anything, all right, so you've got to weigh that part up. All right, you're not going to be good with the most expensive equipment, period. Just deal with that. All right, you got to learn, deal with it. So I started looking at the HSP, was very excited about the HSP. A fair few parts through Hobbies Direct, wasn't going to be a problem replacing broken stuff. I don't know enough about what parts will fit in certain cars to be able to pick a random third party thing and go, yeah, that'll work. I still don't know enough about that, so because I couldn't get upgradable parts, that was an issue for me. Okay, so I started looking around. I found out Hobbies Direct also do the A-Trek range, essentially the same car. Okay, so the HSB do a brushless version, which is around 330. Atrex is a brushless version around 360. Again, all completely RTR. Batteries for the controller, battery, everything you need. Okay, add a few extra bucks on for another battery. You're probably looking at $400 and you're cool to go. Free postage from Hobbies Direct for the Atrex range. You can even get it from Harvey Norman, and I'm pretty sure you can get them from JB Hi-Fi and Bunnings, but that's on their marketplace range. Okay, so it's not like you can't get stuff for these things. Okay, again, same issue, adjustable parts. I couldn't tell if I could get them, and I still don't know if third-party ones will work for them. I kind of got to play with that to learn that, okay? But they're there, they're affordable, they're good to go, worth a look. Really affordable shells, because I want to get into painting, so $30 for a shell that I can play with and break and not care about, a lot better than 130, you know? Definitely worth a look, okay? And I'm kind of upset that I never just bit the bullet and got one just to start playing with, because they do 2-car packs that would be perfect for my boy and me. So worth considering. Okay. However, I have a history in sim racing, a long history. I want to be able to adjust these things. I want to tinker a little bit. Okay, my philosophy in sim racing will be the same in RC racing. Tinker a bit, get something comfortable, get something I can get around the track on, then practice that. Once I've got to a point where I go, I can't do anything more because of my skill level, let's have a look at the car. Okay, so there'll be a bit of tinkering to start with, but after that I'll let it settle down. So I needed adjustability. This was where I started looking at Traxxas stuff, because I know they come adjustable out of the box. But the Traxxas ID system turned me off pretty badly, because I had the charger. I didn't know if I was going to be able to adapt that easily, and it's not easy. All right, I didn't really want to spend another $100 and something on another charger for one battery. I didn't see the point. But Traxxas are always going to be there. All right, they're one of the bigger brands. I'll go more about the Traxxas in a second. However, when you start looking at Traxxas, the other one that's going to get pulled up is Armour. The Armour Fury BLX223S. Okay? Very popular choice because they're only about 450 RTR, need a battery. But you can get them at 350, 380, anywhere in Australia. Full RTR, you just need another battery. And they run off the Spectrum system, which is, again, another one I'm not so keen on, but at least you can, there's 2 different types of connectors, I think, IC5, EC5. EC5 are the ones that they use with chip. IC5 you can get other manufacturers like SMC and Ovonic will do the IC5 connectors, so I need to do more research on that, but that is a possibility, okay? But again, adjustability. Now, I've since found out that they do have, and I'll put it up here somewhere, adjustable turnbuckles that you can use in the Fury from Armour, and I'll put the part model and everything up there for you. So now that's become a choice, and if I'm honest, and I had known about that part, I would have already got one, all right, because they're affordable, they're great looking, they're fun. I would have gone one straight away for that price, $350, geez, so wouldn't have even thought twice. I'd have already had one. But at the time, again, adjustability became my concern. Now, I assumed all those ones before would come with adjustable camber and toe. That's the only reason, or especially on the front, camber on the back, that's the only reason I want the adjustability. All right, it's not got nothing to do with anything else, because these things toe out so much they're uncontrollable. So I don't want that problem if I spend money on it. All right, so that's why I've kind of dismissed all them to this point. All right, so then we look into the fully adjustable stuff. Traxxas, Team Associated. Okay, Traxxas / hugely popular. There's like 3 different versions. I'm going to get these wrong, but I'll try. Traxxas XL-5 is the brushed version, runs the 12-turn Titan. The BL2, it runs the BL2 system, which is a brushless system. I'll put all the prices up here as well. And then you've got the VXL, which is kind of like their heavy duty U-Butte. Everything's monstrous but way too expensive for me. Okay, but they all run the Traxxas ID. Okay, I'll get to that in a second, but be aware, I'm happy to try and solder an ECS because it's not going to blow me up. I'm not going to solder a battery because that's going to blow me up if I make a mistake, and I haven't soldered for decades, so keeping that in mind. However, the Team Associated, that kind of turned me on a little bit. The SC10, fully RTR, need a battery for it, but it runs off Dean's, so you can run any Dean's battery, you're going to be laughing, all right? Fully adjustable, great equipment, comes standard with great shocks, oil filled, everything. Depends on what Traxxas you get, you're not going to get that kind of adjustability on the shock system. Love them. I think they look great. I think they're going to be fine, and to be honest, that is probably where I'm going to be heading once I get past the initial beginner stage. And they're way cheaper than the Traxxas equivalent, all right? So I do like the SC10 by Team Associated. Very hard to get in Australia at the moment. They seem to be out of stock everywhere. Okay, same with Traxxas. So let's not blame Trump, but there's something going on there. Okay, so they're the ones I've looked at, and I've kind of settled on. If I can get a Traxxas with a Dean's connector, that would be the way I'd go. Okay, like I said, I can probably modify the ECS connector, and we can get away with that. But second-hand comes into play. Now, second-hand options are pretty good because you're going to get possibility of parts, batteries, chargers, upgradable parts on them. Sure, there's going to be a little bit of work you're going to have to do, clean it up, fix it up, whatever, but generally you're going to get everything you need. So I started looking around. I hate Facebook, so much so that I've actually been trying to retake control of my Facebook identities, and far out, Facebook are a pain in the backside, but I'll get into that later. I can't even access the stuff to talk to people, so whatever. Well, I can access it, that's what scares me. I can access it really easily, but they won't let me change my password for some stupid reason. So security my butt. Anyway, so I'm not going to use Facebook to look around for secondhand stuff. So I used eBay. We're not in America. Australia doesn't have a huge secondhand market. If I was in America, woohoo, laughing. So I found a guy though that does some secondhand Traxxas stuff, and he's already converted them to Deans. So I have looked and I'm chatting to that guy, and we'll see what we can come up with. Hopefully we can get that. He's upgraded to brushless, upgraded some of the parts, all that sort of thing, shocks, the lot. A couple of shells. I'm just chatting to the guy, seeing if I can get them. But it is definitely an option because you're going to find people that have converted them for you already. Okay, so it makes life easier, and they're about half the price, including postage. Bonus. Just Australia Post is taking a very long time for things. We're talking over 2 weeks here to Albany. Oh well. So I've now switched my focus to second-hand Traxxas with Dean's conversions. Okay, because I need to get 2 cars. I need to get them relatively cheaply, just so me and my boy can have a go, get stuck into this, see what's going on. That's kind of where my brain is settling at the moment. If I wasn't looking at second-hand, and if I hadn't known about the armour upgrades, I would already have an armour. Pretty confident I would. Alright? Just something, so one of us, my boy or I, can actually get into it and start seeing what it's all about and make some decisions going forward, and I can put a bit more money aside and get something later. That is pretty much where I've settled though. Secondhand Traxxas with a Dean's connector will be the way I think I'll be going. It's a tough call though. This is something you're going to have to sit down and figure out your own priorities, what you want to get out of it and how it's going to work. The only thing I will suggest, there are some great battery companies out there. You can see plenty of reviews on the internet, and I have pretty much settled on SMC because they do a lot of different connectors on their batteries. You can buy them stock standard with different connectors, all right? And they're really affordable. So I'm going to head down that path most likely. Ovonics are a cheap option, not as good as CMC, but they, again, have all the different options on there, including Traxxas stuff as well as CMC do Traxxas things. So if you really wanted to get the Traxxas ID connector, you can get other batteries, make it way more affordable. Still going to need the Traxxas charger though. So yeah, there's a lot of choices there. The other reason with the armour I like is because I love the Losi Sprint car, and they run the Spectrum system, so if I get batteries to work on the armour, I can move them over to that when I finally get myself a sprint car. These are sort of the things I've been thinking about, okay? However, I think I'm happy with the decision on settling for a Traxxas with the Deans, second hand. If I can find some, I think that'll be the way to go. If I can't find some, we can't make the next race meet because of other commitments, so as long as I get something before the next one, I'll be pretty happy. And if I can't get hold of a second hand option, I think I'll probably go the armour if I'm brutally honest. And if I can't go the armour, geez, I'll be happy with the A-Trek. And if I'm really need to, the HSP brush will probably do. Okay, I need to learn this shit. The only way I'm going to learn it is to get something and play with it. Pretty much. So there's my process. I hope we haven't dribbled on too long. I hope I haven't confused you too much. But yeah, Traxxas second hand with the Dean's connector seems to be the way to go. And I'll look at other options like the armour or the HSP or the A-Trek if that all falls apart. I'll probably save the team associated stuff for later because I might even go the kit version. But yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at. Figure it out as we go, hey? Let's get some stuff and have a play. Anyway, I better get going. I've dribbled on for more than enough. I hope I haven't confused you. I hope I've just enlightened you a little bit on some of the issues you're going to come against and some of the thought processes you're going to have to think about. And I hope that helps you with your decision. In the meantime, this is the Goateed Sloth reminding you, take it easy on the trigger, send it on the straights, and remember, even a sloth can go full throttle.